What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a really special SUV. This one just hit dealerships actually last week from what I was told. This is the all-new Buick Envision Avenir trim. This is their flagship luxury compact crossover, and this thing looks absolutely killer. I'm very excited to show this thing off just because I think this wholeheartedly might be my new favorite compact crossover by far. I mean, look at this thing. The profile's beautiful. Everything looks so proportional, and the design of it is just absolutely stunning. So today I'm gonna take you through this thing, and I'm gonna show you why this thing might actually be my new favorite compact crossover. Let's get to it. Really quick, guys, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please do, especially if you're liking the content that you see. I've got a lot of things in store for you guys, and it's a great way to support the channel so that way I can keep giving you these great reviews. Again, comment down below if there's anything you want to see, if there's something you want to see more of in a vehicle, or if there's just something you want me to change or do better, criticism, etc. Let me know in the comments below, and like always, hit that bell in the upper right hand corner. That way you never miss a video. Now back to the review. Big shout out to Carl Black, Buick GMC here in Kennesaw, Georgia. They're the ones that lent me that beautiful Buick Envision Avenir. So if you guys are actually in the market for a new or pre-owned Buick GMC or even a Chevrolet, definitely hit them up. I'll have the link in the description below, not only for the vehicle that you guys looked at today, but just in case you want to look at their inventory. So again, thank you to Carl Black, Buick GMC. I definitely appreciate it. So I want to talk about the front end of this because this is my favorite part of this SUV. All new styling all the way from the ground up. As you can see, this thing is gorgeous. You have the Buick badge up front, surrounded in chrome, of course. You have chrome on the grille. Look at this. This is like a dark chrome on the grille, and it's a hollow grille to feed air to that 2-liter 4-cylinder. Looks very nice. It's so well styled. It's not understyled, it's not overstyled, it's just perfect. You have the chrome surround here on the grille, as it does carry from right here all the way down. Looks really nice. This paint is beautiful. And then as you can see down here, these are plastic pieces, and some will say, why do you have that on a luxury SUV? I think they did it just perfect on this because these are going to be parts that are going to get hit by so much debris over the life of the vehicle. It is nice that they actually did have plastic cladding down here. Also gives it a slightly rugged look, which is something that's always nice to have on an SUV. And then of course you do have your front parking sensors, and you do have a front camera right here. It's hidden so well. I think this might be one of the best hidden cameras that I've ever seen on a car, but that is to aid in the bird's eye view camera, which this car does have. Now, going on to the side here, you do have a full LED headlight. Of course, you do have LED running lights, and you do have your LED indicators. This headlight is so aggressive, but it looks so pretty at the same time. I love it. And it's a black housing, which just looks really nice. And then outside of that, you do have this little vent here. It is a fake vent. It's not functional. You do have a front parking sensor embedded there, and you do have a chrome surround. I think tastefully it looks good, but I feel like they could have made it smaller and then made it a functional vent. I don't know why they did that, but it is what it is. I think it looks good stylistically. So let's talk about the wheel set on here. You do have 20-inch wheels on this Envision Avenir. This wheel set complements this paint really well. It is a very nice, kind of a graphite color paint, which is really, really handsome on this wheel. Surrounded on this wheel are gonna be this 245 tire with a 45 sidewall. And then of course, this is provided by Continental, which for those of you who don't know, Continental is my personal favorite tire manufacturer. These are the Pro Contacts. So this is actually a very nice tire, and overall, even the distance between the tire and the actual wheel well, it's just a really handsome look. It fits really well, and the design is overall very handsome in nature. It's not overstyled, it's not understyled, very well done. I did want to point out on the side profile of the car, you do have this chrome strip on the bottom that looks very tastefully done. You do have an Avenir badge here, one of technically 4 on the car, or 3 rather. You've got one on each side, and then you've got one on the back, but it looks really nice. And then you do have a side camera mounted underneath the mirror there. So overall, I want to point out this little design cue. Looks really nice. So I really wanted to take a look at the back of the Envision because just like the front, the rear looks absolutely amazing. First thing you're going to notice is the taillight design. mimics that of the front headlight, which is really cool. I feel like that's redundant to say, front headlight. Headlight, front headlight. Either way, mimics the headlight, looks really sharp. In addition to that, you're gonna notice that it's kind of a grayscale tint to the taillight. That's actually, from what I'm told, only available on the Avenir trim, and I think it looks phenomenal. European companies like Porsche especially use this all the time. I think it's a really good look, and it brings the upscale aspect of this vehicle to face, which is really nice. Now, this is a full LED unit. Your running lights, indicators, etc. are full LED. And then in addition to that, you are gonna find that the indicators actually go all the way into this unit here. They're not just on the outside. Now, Envision emblazoned all the way on the back. And then of course you've got Avenir on the back of the tailgate as well. And the Buick badge, of course, right in the middle. You got the wiper stalk down here. They could have made this spoiler bigger and hidden the stalk. Everybody knows I like stalks when they're hidden from up above. Doesn't look bad. It would just be a preference, but you do have a third brake light here. It is matching the same tint up here, which is really, really handsome. So, and then right here, that is actually going to be that camera for that actual, for the digital mirror on the inside. So not only do you have the backup camera here, but this is gonna be that camera, so that way you can see out of the rear view mirror. Now, going down here, these are fake. These are not going to be real exhaust tips, but design-wise, that's how it's designed. You do have chrome surrounding it. I will say I wish they would have done a true exhaust tip. I understand why, because a lot of car companies are going away from that, but they could have done something there. But stylistically, it does look very, very nice. And then, of course, your reflector is actually built into the bag here, tastefully done. And then a silver painted cladding here. Matches the front, really, really nice. I actually do like the fact that this complements the paint really well, but overall, again, this is gonna be a rugged piece that sees a lot of damage over time from rocks, pebbles, debris on the road, etc. Really good that they actually kept this a plastic cladding piece. Now, let's take a look at the inside, because I really wanna show you what is going on the inside of this new Envision Avenir. Let's get to it. We are getting into the Avenir. I know you guys love these point of views, right? This view is always really good because it gives you a first-hand look at what you're looking at. Avenir embossed on the headrest, and then look at this beautiful leather, stitched really well. Love the contrast, almost a quilted pattern there. Looks really, really handsome. You have that contrast piping on the side, which looks really nice. On the door, guys, look at this. Look at that. You have this beautiful embossment on the wood grain here. It just looks so pretty. I love it, love it, love it. You do have soft touch plastics, of course, for the buttons for the seating, and then of course the buttons for the windows and mirrors, to be expected. And then you do have the leather with the contrast stitching into the seat as into the side of the door as well. You do have your button for the tailgate and tailgate adjustments, storage pocket over here, and then the Bose speaker grill. I will say, I really wish that the speaker grill itself was completely chrome, kind of like this. I don't know why they did that, but I feel like it would have made the door kind of pop a little bit more. Now, one thing I do want to point out as well is on the seat, look at the controls. They are just strictly plastic. I wish they would have done a chrome outline on it just to set it off. I feel like they could have done it, but they didn't. Oh well. And then you do have this little fabric that's lining on the outside, so kind of interesting to see that. Don't know why they didn't just completely make it leather, but that's what we're working with on the Envision Avenir. Looking up here in the dash, your headlight controls, your heads-up display controls, because yes, this car has it. And then looking into the steering wheel and the rest of the interior, let's get a closer look. Buick Envision Avenir. The gauges are actually blacked out gauges, but when you get in the car, it'll actually recognize the key fob and turns them on. Push button start, of course. Huge touchscreen. I believe it's a little over 10 inches in size, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and turn that down. That might actually continue again. Nope, we're good. Now, looking at the gauge cluster, of course, it is going to be digital in the middle, but you have your two manual gauges on the side. I wish the whole gauge cluster was just one single, I guess, digital output. I really do wish that. I don't know why they didn't do that, but c'est la vie. On the windshield, you can see you do have the heads-up display. You're noticing it's probably flickering because, of course, LED doesn't really show up well on camera, but you do have a heads-up display. Steering wheel, very, very nice. I love the shape of the steering wheel, and that's hard for me to say because most General Motors steering wheels I'm not a fan of, but this looks incredible. Leather wrapped, contrast stitching, Buick emblem, of course. These plastics, though they are plastic, they feel really nice. It's the same soft touch material. Of course, you've got your Bluetooth controls, heated steering wheel, cruise control, which this has adaptive cruise control, and then you do have paddle shifters to upshift and downshift. They are going to be plastic, but they still feel really nice. Same deal with the actual knobs here for the headlights, or those stalks as most people call them. It is plastic, but it does feel really nice overall. You're going to notice gloss black lines the vents here and the actual gauge cluster, and it also carries on into this area of the dash. Gloss black for those knobs there, which most people hate gloss black. I'm going to say it looks really good here. I actually love that this is gloss black. It just sets it off, and the fact that it's illuminated backlit looks really nice. Touchscreen, very, very responsive. Matter of fact, one of the most responsive I've ever seen. Feels very nice. It is angled upwards, which I'm kind of confused of why. I don't know, but still nice. Home, of course, you can make different users. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Of course, that's sort of standard fare in the auto industry now. And then, of course, navigation, though the SD card is actually not in the vehicle currently, so you will not see that. And then, of course, you do have Wi-Fi capabilities. And then you can see you get your 4G LTE there. Now, going down, you see you do have vents down here. They are actually kind of hidden there. If you didn't know what to look for, you might miss them. Then, of course, you got your hazard button. And then you notice that swoop goes into the vent over here, which is really cool. Just want to make note of that for you guys. And then if you look down here, the center stack here is actually really, really nice. Gloss black. You do have these little toggles here to turn on the heated and cooled seats, dual zone climate controls, and then gloss black for the buttons. Some people hate this, some people love it. I'm personally indifferent, but I do like the very vibrant colors. It gives it a really nice look. And then down here, you do have your wireless charging port. You've got your fast charge USB and USB-C, which is another really good feature to have. And then you do have a 12-volt power outlet as well. And then, of course, you push that, it closes. And then over here, you do have your parking sensors. This button here, when you press that, it's actually for parallel parking and perpendicular parking. This car can park itself. It's really cool. Arrival, departure, doesn't matter. You can do that. That is what that button does. You press it again, it'll say deactivated. You can hit dismiss. Now, down here, traction control, of course. You've got your lane safety there. And then, of course, the idle, stop, and go to turn on and off. And then here, you do have the buttons to control the shift-by-wire 9-speed transmission. Park is a button. Reverse is a toggle. When you press that, you can see the surround view camera system, which I want to point out, the resolution in this camera is amazing. I don't know if it's the screen or the camera or both, but it looks absolutely amazing. Far better than most other people in the industry. Very, very good. I don't know who they sourced their cameras from, but they did a really, really good job. Now, back to here, you got neutral, which is a physical button. And then, of course, you got drive, which is actually a toggle. And then you've got M for manual. So when you actually select that, you can see in the lower right-hand corner there, you've got M1. So that way you can select what gear you want to be in. Really, really nice. And I'm going to press P for park. And then you're good to go. Cup holders here. And then, of course, your electronic parking brake. And then you got your different drive modes. So you can press that. You've got Tour, Sport, Snow, and Ice. You got those to choose from there. Why don't we get to the back seats and see what they're going on. Looking up here, you've got the famous digital mirror that GM has used in a lot of their vehicles. A few brands have this feature, but GM uses it on almost every vehicle they have. Of course, you flip this and it goes to a manual mirror, but you flip it back and it is an actual digital mirror via that camera that I showed you earlier. Really neat, especially if you have a car full of items and you can't see out the back. Really nice thinking. And then up here, you've got your OnStar controls, your controls for the panoramic sunroof, and then Home Link, so you can connect your garage doors. And then up here, you do have LED lighting as to be expected in an SUV such as this. Make note, this is the black interior, but it does have a contrast beige headliner. So I'm sitting in the back of the Buick Envision Avenir, and I will say this seat, the front seat, is actually where I would sit personally. Sorry if I just hit the mic. And I've got more than enough room. Even with the sunroof, the headroom that I have is, shoot, I would estimate probably about 5 or 6 inches. More than enough space. The width of the seats, they're not the widest, but this is not a wide vehicle, so some people might run into issues there, but overall I still think it's a really nice place to be. I feel comfortable space wise. I don't think many people are really going to complain. But why don't we look at the amenities back here and see the design features back here, so you can see what we're essentially looking at when you get an Envision Avenir. It mimics the front. You have this beautiful etching into the wood, metallic finish for the door handle, and you still have that soft touch plastic here, to be expected. Leather, of course, with the contrast stitching into the door card, and then a storage pocket here. And then look at this, again with the speaker cover. I really wish they would have at least done a chrome surround. I'm surprised they didn't for the Bose audio system. Going into the back, you have that same contrast stitching on the back seats, which looks amazing. You do have pockets on the back of both seats, not just one, but both. And then when you get into the car, which I'm doing now, you've got heated seats for the rear outboard seats, vents for the rear passengers, though I really do wish that this was surrounded by chrome, just like that vent out there, but c'est la vie. Down here, you've got your fast charge USB, and then you got your USB-C, and then as you can see, a normal household plug, which I was actually using to charge my microphone. Really nice. Now, as you can see, this car does have the panoramic sunroof, but it goes all the way back. All the way back. Super neat. Rare to see SUVs that go this far back, but it's a really nice look, and it really airs out the interior. Getting into the back of the Envision Avenir, like I said, power tailgate, of course. Press that. See, it opens up beautifully. And then once you get into the back, there's really nothing too crazy to look at back here. Of course, you got your LED lighting, you've got your tie down points if you need them at all. You can see they still have the wrench back here, or not the wrench, but the socket for the wheel locks. Of course, accessories, you can see all my stuff here. And then underneath, you do have a spare tire. So that is actually useful for those who care. You do have that stainless steel to line the back of this so you don't scratch up anything if you do load the vehicle. And then I want to make note, I was actually taught this, on the tailgate, it is infinitely adjustable as long as you put the vehicle setting on the driver's side door to 3/4, and then you just press and hold this button until you hear a beep. Forevermore, it'll open up at that height, and I think that is super ingenious. So let's go ahead and close that. And let's go for a drive. All right, so we are actually in the Buick Envision Avenir. This is the flagship trim for this vehicle. This is a compact crossover, and it's been an okay seller for Buick, but I really wholeheartedly think that this one is going to change everything. So the reason why I say that is because, for one, the exterior styling. I wholeheartedly think this is one of the prettiest slash kind of aggressive SUVs I've seen in a very long time, especially from a domestic brand. So I'm actually very impressed with that. Now, I will say also that the design on the inside is actually pretty handsome. It's definitely a domestic design, but it looks very nice. The interior is very well appointed. You know, you've got heated, cooled seats, heated seats for the rear, but they've added small touches that you wouldn't think would come from an American branded car. You know, like that wood grain with the embossed design on the inside. Like, that is cool. I wholeheartedly think that is super, super cool. They didn't have to do that, but they did, and it's amazing. Now, driving impressions. First thing I'm gonna notice is the suspension's actually pretty stiff for what it's worth. You know, I was expecting a softer ride, but you can definitely feel some of the bumps on the road, but not in a bad way. It's not harsh. It's definitely not harsh. I don't want to put that impression, but you can definitely get a good feel of the contact with the road. Now, I will say it's fairly quiet in this car. You can hear the engine a little bit, but overall, it is a very comfortable place to be in. Now, steering feel is very, very light in this car, which I actually expected that just because this is a comfortable car. This is not supposed to be a sports SUV or anything like that. It's just supposed to be a nice luxury SUV, and they do that pretty well in this thing, okay? As far as the materials on the inside, obviously they're higher grade than what you get in an economy branded car like a Chevy, Ford, etc., but it is very nice. You do get a little bit of the economical roots from General Motors in general, but as far as material quality, it does feel really nice in here. Namely, the seats. I love these seats. They are firm. I'm gonna say that they are firm seats. I personally like that. Not everybody does, but I'm just gonna let you know they are firm seats, but they feel so good. Heated and cooled, standard fare. You know, you would expect that in a vehicle of this, you know, stature, but overall, very, very nice. Now, this thing is just cool for a multitude of reasons. One, not only because the design just wins me over completely, but just because this thing has things like, you know, self-parking features. You know, you still got the idle stop and go, which most cars have, and things like that, but it's got heads-up display. You know, it's got a driver-focused dash. Like, those are things that I find to be cool. I'm not even gonna lie, would have never guessed that I'd see a driver-focused dash in a Buick. No offense to the brand, but everything is geared towards the driver, which is super, super cool. So you can definitely tell that they're starting to aim this at younger buyers, and I think they will gain that market share because you're entering an area of life where a lot of the boomers, as sad as the sounds, are starting to taper off, and you have younger generations going up and up, and they don't have that image of Buick like some of us do, which is why the image of this SUV can be drastically changed. Now, safety feature wise, I mean, of course you got every lane safety known to man. Of course you got automatic braking for the front and rear. Those things are very commonplace amongst cars nowadays. I do like the self-parking feature. You know, you press a button, it can detect, you know, parallel park or anything like that, which is really cool. Car can do it for you. I love that a car like this has that feature, which is really cool because a lot of luxury brands from Europe have that, but they charge a huge premium for it. So in this car, I think stickers in like the mid 40s, which honestly, all things considered, is not bad. Now, one thing I will say, the powertrain for this car, it impresses me, but doesn't impress me at the same time. What impresses me is the transmission. I'm surprised they went with a 9-speed transmission. It feels very good in this car, and I want to point that out because some Fiat Chrysler, or Stellantis as it's now called, their 9-speed transmissions do not feel so smooth. This one does. It is very smooth. But the thing that doesn't really impress me is the motor in this one. So it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It is turbocharged. It's got about 228 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque. If you want to compete with the likes of, say, like a BMW X1 or X3, maybe those entry-level models there, it can match in terms of power. It's not too crazy, but at the same time, feature-wise, it matches that of a higher trimmed vehicle and its competitors. So it would have been nice to see maybe a more potent powertrain come along, maybe closer to the 300 mark. I feel like that would have done this vehicle justice. Maybe I'm asking for too much, who knows. But what I will say is the powertrain in this car is very smooth. Because it is a true torque converter automatic, you've got that power instantly, which is really nice. Yeah, you've got a good amount of power. If you need to get out of the way of something, you can do that. Are you gonna win a drag race? Absolutely not. But nobody gets a Buick for that purpose, so no need of really making a big deal out of it, okay? Now, space-wise, or should I say visibility, The windshield's actually smaller than I thought it'd be, but it's almost the perfect size because you can see so much. You've got big windows up front. Of course, you got the pano sunroof, which goes all the way back, which I like. And because of the pano sunroof, it lightens up the interior, makes it seem so much bigger than it really is. And that is something that I truly do love. That's why I love panoramic sunroofs. Now, as far as visibility at the back, it makes no sense to talk about it only because they have this ingenious mirror that doubles as the backup camera. I mean, are you kidding me? You can see everything. You don't have to worry about the back window. Just pay attention to what's there. Like, what? I'm just being honest. It just doesn't make sense to talk about it when realistically, you can just have that digital camera on the mirror and call it a day. It's a very good feature. Some manufacturers have it. I know Land Rover has it. Ford had it very early on in their, I think, 08 or 09 F-150. And then that's when they ditched it just to have the normal backup camera. Toyota has it. I know I saw it in an FJ Cruiser. And then, of course, Chevy has it as well. It's just a really nice feature, and I really hope to see many more manufacturers utilize this feature. I wholeheartedly mean that, okay? Now, I think my final impressions on this are this. The looks are killer on this car. I love the way this thing looks. But what I will say is that I would have wished for a little bit more power. That's first of all. And then outside of that, I probably would have just expected just some minor tweaks on the trim of the interior. A little bit more chrome, and I usually don't like chrome, but a little bit more of that on some of the speakers surrounding, you know, the vents for the rear passengers, just things like that. Those are super small things. Not a deal breaker to me, but it would be nice to see that in upcoming models. So I do hope that they actually include that. Now, outside of that, I have no complaints. I love the way this thing looks on the outside. This Avenir model is so nice. It looks super aggressive but comfortable at the same time, which very few cars can execute that, but they did that wonderfully here. So big props to them, honestly. And then outside of that, I would just say, well done. I would have never expected this from a Buick, nor would I ever expect myself to say I like a Buick. But here we are, and I'm saying I like a Buick. And I will go as far to say this might be one of my favorite compact crossovers in the segment. For the money, I just don't think you can get a lot better than this. You get a lot of the luxurious features that you'd want. The design on the outside is killer. The design on the inside, very minimalistic, but it works. It really does. It's not overstyled, it's not understyled. It's just right. And then material quality is very high. I love this wood. The wood on the door panels, I just love it. So in saying that, I'm very impressed with this. I think this is a much needed refresh for this car, and I think this vehicle will definitely push Buick into a new sales chapter for the upcoming years. So in saying that, if you guys did like this video, definitely subscribe, hit the bell in the upper right hand corner, leave a comment on any vehicle you want to see next. Definitely taking suggestions. And then outside of that, I do want to appreciate your support. I want to let you guys know that I've reached 700 subscribers yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I really do appreciate it. It means the world that I got this much support from people. Shoot, I've seen messages from Indonesia, I mean, all kinds of countries. So I am very thankful, and I just want to let you guys know that. So thanks again, and I really appreciate you guys watching. So until next time,